Am I the asshole for showing up to a party with my pregnant wife that my ex was at? I, 35 meters, used to be married to my high school sweetheart Kelly, 35F. We got married after undergrad and overall I would say that we were really happy. The biggest conflict that I would say we had was the topic of children. Not the idea of actually having them but when. I've always wanted to be a dad and wanted to have my kids while I was still young enough to run around with them while they were kids and have a good adult relationship with them once they got older. Kelly brought up a lot of good points about needing to get married, living fully on our own, and being out of debt first. For about 5 years I worked a job I had no passion for solely because of the large paycheck and I was able to nearly wipe out our debt completely. We didn't have a lot to begin with in the first place. Then Kelly said she wanted a house, so we got one, then a few months in she talked about wanting to go to grad school. Even though we often fought about children, in the end I always supported her choices because I didn't want her to resent me. I would often ask her if Kelly had ever changed her mind about wanting kids but she assured me that she still did, just not now. I asked when would she be and it always felt like she kept moving the goal post whenever she'd list her requirements, and that I was painted as a jerk for pressuring her for kids. Unfortunately, after weeks of not feeling well, Kelly was diagnosed with an illness. It was rough but I stood by her and she pulled through but the cost was her fertility. I felt like a jerk again because a part of me resented Kelly for not agreeing to have kids sooner and that resentment grew when Kelly refused to look into using a surrogate, insisting that either we were both the bio parents or neither of us were. In the end I couldn't take it and just divorced her. A lot of people called me selfish, sexist, misogynistic, etc. but I just wasn't sure if this was something that I would be able to truly let go of. I let Kelly keep the house and moved out of town. Eventually I met and fell in love with Angela, 32F. And after shortly moving into together she got pregnant so we got married. She's entering her 3rd trimester with our baby girl and I'm so excited. A friend back in college moved back to the States and wanted to have a small party to see everyone. He invited Kelly and me, so I checked in with him privately and asked if it would be okay to bring my wife and he said that it was cool so I did. This was the first time I saw Kelly in person for years and she looked well enough. I was polite but kept my distance and thought everything was good until the next day when I got a barrage of texts and DMs blasting me for having the audacity to parade my heavily pregnant younger, wife in front of my infertile ex-wife. I had no malicious intentions and it has been a few years plus I asked beforehand just to double check so am I the asshole? ETA, talked about this with someone in the comments. Kelly said it would be too upsetting at the idea of me having a child with another woman regardless of how the child was conceived. It was either adopt or nothing at all. I honestly felt like there was no way we could progress in the relationship without one of us resenting the other so I filed. If she truly didn't want kids she put on a great performance. Before her illness she would constantly gush over other people's babies, insisted buying a house in a good school district for our future kids, and even talked in extensive detail about wanting to be a stay-at-home for up to 6 years. I think Kelly just assumed we'd always have time and then life threw a curveball. If Kelly had stated that she would have been open to having children sooner under the condition that I be the primary caretaker I would have done it. I would have even taken a lesser paying job so I could have the free time to do it. I never wanted to put in a position where she felt like she would have to give up her career entirely. ETA 2, stepped away for a little bit but I just wanted to be clear about something. I did not leave Kelly while she was still sick. It was a year after she was healthy again and we had been in therapy for months. What do you think? Are they the asshole? Leave your opinion in the comments. Am I the asshole for dressing casually to a work dinner? My GF Lauren has a great relationship with her boss Chelsea, actually really friendly outside of work. They go to dinner or lunch together and discuss both work stuff and real talk. Even though Lauren always looks very clean and put together, she also isn't a very professional dresser in my opinion, not the way an office lady usually looks. She rarely wears makeup, keeps her hair in a short cut and does nothing to style it, and wears only pants to work, never a dress or skirt, and only button-downs and blazers. I love her and I love that the work environment she's in lets her feel comfortable enough to dress like this. She likes makeup, she just likes either to be barefaced or go for dramatic looks that aren't appropriate for the office. Rarely she'll put on some lipstick and basic contouring. Those two facts together made me think that when she invited me to join her at a work dinner on Tuesday that it wasn't a formal occasion. I asked Lauren what she was wearing, she said nice slacks, a button-down and a blazer, telling me that I would be fine to do the same, plus on FaceTime she had metallic eyeshadow and white eyeliner on, so I dressed in dark blue jeans and a plaid flannel button-down. When I showed up, I quickly realized not only was there more than just Lauren and Chelsea but I was the only person wearing jeans, not that it was easy to see that especially once we all sat down. One of Lauren's coworkers was wearing a polo and khakis though, which I felt was equal to my outfit. No one looked twice at my clothes and we all had a good time. It was a non-issue. Lauren and I had planned on her following me home so she could stay the night with me, but when we got to our car she said she didn't want to anymore because she was mad I didn't dress appropriately to dinner. I said I dressed just as appropriately as she did because there was nothing business appropriate about wearing white eyeliner. She just laughed in my face at that and told me to fuck off. I tried texting and calling her, but she just told me to leave her alone and refused to discuss the fight instead of just shutting me down. Edit: No, not all women need to wear skirts to be professional, but you match the formality of your boss in the work and Lauren is the only woman in the office that never wears a dress or skirt, contrast where Chelsea always does. No, she doesn't need long hair to be professional, but there needs to be some styling to it, something to give body or make it look less like she just ran a brush through it and called it a day. It wasn't a lumberjack style flannel, it was black and white and pressed nicely. I could have dressed it up with a jacket and in hindsight I would have. I don't get how it's bad to call a flamboyant face of makeup not professional, but I didn't mean it as an insult and I don't get why basic contouring was such a bad thing to say. What do you think? Are they the asshole? Leave your opinion in the comments. Am I the asshole for not wanting my boyfriend's kids to sleep over? My boyfriend, 50 meters, and I, 27F, live in a one-bedroom apartment. I moved in with him around 8 months ago. He has 8 kids. 2 adult sons in their 30s, who are married with kids, and 6 younger children ages 19 meters, 17 meters, 15F, 14 meters, 11F, 10 meters. Despite the fact none of his kids live with him, he is very involved in their lives. One or a few of them regularly spend the night at our place, staying in the living room. His youngest son sleeps over almost every Thursday night and his 2 daughters sleep over almost every other weekend. They have different moms, so it's more about spending time together than with their dad. His other kids plus grandkids also intermittently spend the night. During the warmer months my boyfriend takes his sons camping a lot. It being winter, they haven't gone camping in a few months. His youngest son especially loves camping and has been saying he misses camping and being with all his brothers. My boyfriend has now told me next weekend his 4 younger sons plus his 2 oldest grandsons, 13 meters, 11 meters, will be camping out in our living room. Not asked but told. Because he thought I wouldn't have an issue with having 16/preteen boys in my living room all weekend. When I told him I objected to his plans, he made it seem like I was only unhappy with it because I didn't want to be around his kids, despite the fact I gave logical reasons why this was a bad idea. I also know I would end up cleaning up after them and making sure we have enough food for them. Honestly, I'm not super comfortable around my boyfriend's kids and can be awkward with them. I also don't generally like it when any amount of them sleep over, so I know next weekend will be awful for me. They can be loud, messy and generally don't like me much. They also take over my living room, which is inconvenient. My boyfriend is mad at me for objecting, as is his daughter, 15F, who was around when he told me his plans and my follow-up objection. She thinks, is it really any of your business though? My boyfriend pretty much agreed with her. I think it is my business as I live there too. Does not wanting this sleepover to happen make me TA? Should I just be happy my boyfriend has a good relationship with his kids/grandkids? What do you think? Are they the asshole? Leave your opinion in the comments.